Hello, I'm going to show you how to feed grindle worms. First I want to show you that this is the amount of cultures that we keep, that's just storage, for feeding 35 to 40 tanks. And I picked out two here that we can go over real quick, so let me put you up. So these are how I keep them in Rubbermaid containers. I like to keep them wide and long instead of deep because the depth is not as important as the surface area, because that's how we keep them. Things you're going to need are a shaker of some sort. This is an old fish container we drilled holes in, but you can also use a Parmesan cheese container. And you're going to need something to collect. This is a pipette that I cut the tip off because it pulls a little bit more material out. And you're going to need a sprayer. So what I do is I open it up. You can see there's just a layer of fabric here so that there continues to be air going into the culture but not bugs. And I look, and so this is what my culture is going to look like. I fed these before the meeting today, so there's still a little bit of food left, but as you can see there are a ton of worms on here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sprayer and I spray around the food because I don't really want that food in my fish tank. And then, get that out of the way, take this and I sprinkle a layer on. How much you feed is going to depend on how many grindle worms and how good your culture is doing. What I always try to do is give it a little spray down before I close it. Keeps the sides clean. You don't want to have a lot of water in here, but you want to have a little bit. So that's how much there is if I push it down. You're also going to want to drain this water. So every time I spray in there, but eventually you're going to get a flooded one. And when you get a flooded one, you're going to drain all of that water out into your Daphnia cultures, because the poop is going to create infusoria, which is what your Daphnia are going to eat. So here's another one. So this is one of an example of when it needs to be cleaned. So you can see this is a line of ammonia and poo. This is some old food. That might be some mold. I mean, it's still full of worms. They're doing really good, but I mean, it's not pretty. And so what I do is I pump my thing up and I spray all of the extra food and kind of move it towards the end of the pad into the water. And if you notice, I'm basically flooding it. And then I go like this to try to make sure I get all the pads kind of rinsed out. I know it's gross. If you can't do this, it's okay. And then I'm going to go like this, and I'm just going to drain it out. Now I'm looking at the stuff that comes out, because sometimes when you do this, you might have 2/3 of your culture living at the bottom, and then you've just washed them out. So if that happens, here, I'll show you what to do. So let's see. So we cleaned it out. They need a little bit of food. Put it back on. Make sure you cover all tights, and you hear four clicks on the sides. That lets you know you're not going to let storm flies in there. So another trick with the drain flies. Another trick with the worms is if you look at them, I might need to look here. You can see that the worms fall and the dirt does not. It's focused. So if you pour like this, you can see that all the poo is coming out. And at the end, you'll see there might be some worms in there. So in this case, there's not. But what you may find is that there's a lot of extra worm matter in there. And if you clean it, it might take you a few tries. You're going to have to drain and clean it a couple times. You can get a lot of really good food or a little bit of extra even out of the bottom. And again, with this, we're going to take it down. And these are my Daphnia buckets. They are cat litter buckets. They have a light that goes on for like 10 hours a day. And then I just pour the nasty water in there, and that's all.